So people want to know, they say, Fritz, how were you able to pay off $250,000 worth of debt in 3 years? And you know, it's crazy. I'm actually back in debt. This year alone, I went back into debt about $50,000. But if you're watching this video now, I should be almost damn near done. I have about $5,000 worth of debt left. I actually made a payment, $3,000 worth of debt left. But I accumulated the debt in the beginning of this year and I'm paying it off. So that means within 4 years, I paid off $300,000 worth of debt. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, if I didn't have the debt, right, that $300,000, what could I have done with it instead? I could have invested that money. I could have done a lot with that money. But the thing is, it was my mindset. It was Instagram. And so today, I want to give you some unorthodox advice. I want to change your mind about certain things. And one of the best decisions I've made that helped me save a lot of money and pay off my debt was actually my home. The one that you're looking at right now. You see this nice fridge and everything going on here, fireplace, very expensive couch, and, you know, luxury bathrooms, luxury everything. That's where the debt actually came from. The $50,000, I don't even really count it. So I got my property as a foreclosure in 2020. I want to bring you guys to the origin of the story. I purchased it for about $150,000. It was beat down. A lot needed to be done. But I lived in it, and I, you know, for 3 years, and I just stayed low. I paid off all my other debt, all my consumer debt. And then I told myself, okay, when I'm done paying off my consumer debt, I'm going to reinvest in my property. You know, so the method I went about it wasn't good because I just used my credit card and just shoop. But the thing is, I just wanted to make it comfortable for me. I wanted to make it livable. I wanted to have all the nice amenities, all the nice stoves and, you know, stainless steel countertops and all these things, because it's wonderful and it's good. It's what I need right now. 2-bedroom, 2-bath. You know, it's just my wife and I and my son. I'm not been planning on having any other kid anytime soon. So hear me out. You know, I stayed low. I lived in a dusty foreclosure for 3 years. And this year is when I made all these upgrades, all these nice things that's going on here. So it was actually a reinvestment in my property that I did, right? So I call it sweat equity, where basically my property is no longer worth $150,000. It's actually worth over $250,000. And I've put in about a lot of work in it, so I probably could sell it for more. So hear me out. That means it increased my net worth. But let me tell you something. That $100,000 worth of equity I got there, you know, that increase in my net worth that I did here, it wouldn't have happened if I was listening to what people were telling me. Because when I graduated from nursing school, people was telling me, why are you moving into a foreclosure? Why are you moving into a dusty house? Why don't you buy a duplex? Why don't you buy a bigger house? You're a nurse. You shouldn't be living in there or there, that, this, and that. I'm here to tell you, you do not need a big house. You honestly don't need a big house. And that's the secret to how I paid off a lot of debt. Because think about it. What is the number one expense in any American budget? It's your housing. It's the place you sleep at. People will spend an egregious amount of money on buying a bigger house. It's the golden handcuffs. It's modern day slavery. And you know what's crazy? You don't even get to sleep in it. I'm telling you. It's the comedy of the year. I know a lot of Haitian ladies who live in huge homes, but they need to work 3 jobs just to pay the mortgage. They never get a chance to even sleep in that house. And at the end of the day, when their blood pressure and their health plummets because they're working every day, They don't even have the house paid off. The bank takes it back. And that's the unorthodox method that I want to teach you guys today. You do not need a big house. You don't. Don't live within your means, live below your means. You see, for me, this house is a box. That's why I didn't do nothing. I didn't do any repairs. I was more focused on paying off my consumer debt. I was more focused on being free. And yes, I used my credit card to make these repairs because I couldn't wait. And I knew I would be able to pay it off, right? So that's the reason why I did that. But hear me out. You don't need a big house. You don't. Somebody's going to tell you right now to save $100,000. So here's an example. Oh, my son's about to wake up. Someone's going to tell you right now, you need a big house. So let's say you wanted to buy a house, because the average house right now is $400,000 to $500,000. Let's say you wanted to buy a house for $500,000. The down payment on that house, if you're going to put 20% down, it's going to be $100,000. So that means you're going to wake up in the morning, take attitude from your supervisor, go out in the snow, risk yourself getting in an accident with a deer to stack up $100,000 in a saving account. Even if it's a high yield saving account, you are not beating the rate of inflation. By the time you have that money for that down payment, right, you're going to use that to boom, okay, now I have a bigger house. And now you have that bigger house, you're not even living in it because you have to go to work. And this is what you guys are not thinking about. You're not thinking about the future because, yeah, in your 20s and your 30s, but you know what's going to happen? Your kids are going to want to go to college. Your kids are going to want to join sports. You're going to want to go on vacation. But you can't because you put yourself in some golden handcuffs. Don't fall for this trap. You do not need a bigger house. What do you really need? Think about the life you want to live, the places you want to travel to. See, my house, when I purchased it, I wanted something that I knew was not worth more than me. Whatever I own, I need to be worth more than it. Because if I was to lose it, it doesn't matter. Because if I have my health and my mind, I can get another one. But at the same time, it became a cool asset. But if you ask me, an asset that appreciated. But if you ask me, a house is a liability. A house is actually a liability because this house don't make me any money. If you ask me, I had to do a lot of repairs. That came out of, my pockets. But it wasn't giving me an income. It wasn't granting me any income. Unless I move out and turn into a rental property, that's when this house will generate me revenue and I could call it an asset, a true asset. But right now it's just a liability. Instead of waiting 5-10 years and putting your money into savings, $100,000 and putting that into a down payment for a house that you won't even fully own, you could use that money and invest it in the S&P 500. And hear me out, this is not financial advice. I'm just trying to give you a different way of thinking. So instead of me sitting here and saying, okay, I want to get a bigger house, let me save up $100,000. No, I'm going to do what Charlie Munger said. Charlie Munger said the first $100,000 is the hardest, right? So if you put $100,000 into the S&P 500, that money will work harder than you. So I'd rather invest my money into things like that, into assets that's going to make me more money. And you know what's crazy? You're going to look at me wondering, why don't I have a bigger house? Why don't you do this? Why don't you have that? I don't care about nothing. Because at the end of the day, I have my freedom. I think I only need to work 3 days a week, maybe less, to maintain my cost of living. My mortgage is only $1,000. You want me to go get a bigger house so that I can have a $4,000 mortgage? You know what I do with that difference? I invest that $4,000. So if my mortgage, for example, if your mortgage is $4,000 and my mortgage is $1,000, you know what I do with the difference? That $3,000? I invest it. You know what I do sometimes? I travel. You know what I do with that $3,000? Whatever the hell I want, because I don't need a bigger house. So that's the first thing. If you could save money on your housing, I'm telling you, you will build generational wealth even faster. So that's my secret. That's my method. Listen, I'm out here making eggs right now. I gotta make something for my lady real quick. She's sleeping. And fellas, I know this method sounds crazy. I know it's gonna be hard to convince your lady, but listen, that's the cheat code. If you could decrease your housing costs and invest the difference, you will build generational wealth. Thank you.